And in this morning's U.S. Bank Economic 360, we're following up on last week's discussion about dividends. While dividends are most often paid to shareholders in cash, they don't necessarily have to be. U.S. Bank Senior Vice President Mike Denneman joins Business Courier publisher Jamie Smith in the studio with more on a different kind of dividend, those that are paid in stock. Mike and Jamie.
Thanks, Kelly. Mike, thanks for being here.
Good morning.
So let's simplify. What exactly is a dividend?
Sure. So yeah, just to recap from last week, a dividend is your share of the company's profits. So remember that as a shareholder, you are a part owner of that company, and if the company is profitable, then as an owner, you're entitled to a share of those earnings. And so a dividend, most often paid on a quarterly basis, most often paid in cash, but as Kelly just said, doesn't have to be. And so another common form of payment of the dividend is to simply receive additional shares of company stock.
Okay, sounds simple. Talk about how a stock dividend works.
Sure, and it is simple, really. It's the same idea as a cash dividend. You're receiving profits back as an owner. It's just coming in a different format. So instead of receiving a check, you receive additional shares of stock. It is important to note, though, this is different from a dividend reinvestment program. That's a plan that many companies will offer to shareholders where they can take their cash dividend and use it to buy more shares.
Okay.
That's cash that's put to a different purpose. This is literally stock being given to the shareholders. So also important to remember that, we talked last week, dividends aren't much, about 2% annually, and so it's not like you're receiving a whole lot of shares of stock, right? Usually it's on a prorated basis. Maybe you'll get 1 share of stock for every 100 that you own.
Okay.
So granted, that's a very small amount, but remember, if you're getting this every quarter and if you hold the stock for a long enough period of time, that's going to accumulate into something more substantial.
Quite a bit of growth there. Yeah. Is one better than the other? I mean, what's your thought on that?
No, not necessarily. Remember, it's the same thing. You're getting earnings back, and whether it's in the form of cash or a stock, it's still value that's being returned to you. So oftentimes it's more of a personal preference thing. Although important to point out that really only about 5% of companies will pay a stock dividend, so it's fairly uncommon. It's not something that most investors are going to run into frequently. But again, it comes down to preference. Many investors like the cash that they receive. You can take that on a quarterly basis and use it to fund your lifestyle. You can't really take a share of stock down to the mall and buy a pair of jeans, right? That's not practical. Right. Whereas other investors will say, hey, I like this ability to be able to accumulate more shares of stock. I bought the company in the first place because I liked how it was doing and its prospects, and so being able to accumulate more over time works for me. Plus, if I do need to go down to the mall and buy jeans, I can just sell a few shares of stock. It's that simple. So again, it's the same concept, earnings coming back, it's the same value, just in a different form.
Is there a benefit to the company that chooses to go with the stock dividend versus the cash?
Well, if you're the company, the stock dividend doesn't cost you any cash.
Right, that's what I was saying.
And so, if you are looking to expand, if you're looking to plow more money into R&D, if you need that cash for some purpose, paying in stock does allow you to conserve that. So that is an important consideration for the company.
All right. Well, Mike, as always, thanks for giving me more knowledge. I appreciate it, and I look forward to having you back again soon.
Thanks, Jamie.
All right.